Are you getting a bit tired of that 3-inch spare tire around your waist? Are you becoming increasingly lazy or fat? I'd like to show you that we're all in need of exercise. Now is the time to get started so we can enjoy our health and psychological benefits of the rest of our lives. I'm assuming that none of you will argue that exercise is harmful. You'll agree that exercise is beneficial. I'm not sure all of us are actually exercising though. I'd like to tell you then, not how to exercise, but to persuade you to go out and get some exercise. First, I'd like to tell you why I'm so concerned about our inactivity. Lack of exercise is harmful to our health. In general, as people age, they become less physically active. According to the HEA, nearly 40% of people over age 55 report participating in no leisure exercise. Yet, as we become older, we need to exercise more, not less. The HEA notes that 65% of all adults are obese or overweight, and that number continues to increase. The National Center for Health Statistics found in 2010 about 1 in 3 adults who had visited a doctor in the past year had been advised to start or continue an exercise program. That's an increase of about 10% from 2000. Older adults in their mid-40s or mid-80s were more likely to be advised by their physicians to exercise. Among adults 85 and over, the percentage receiving advice to exercise nearly doubled over the past decade. Those with conditions like cardiovascular disease and high blood pressure are also told to exercise more. A cardiovascular disease, the nation's leading cause of death, is caused by inactivity. Worried about heart disease? No matter what your current weight, being active boosts high-intensity lipoprotein or good cholesterol and decreases unhealthy triglycerides. This 1-2 punch keeps your blood flowing smoothly, which decreases your risk of cardiovascular disease. Regular exercise helps prevent or manage a wide range of health problems and concerns, including stroke, metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, depression, a number of types of cancer, arthritis, and falls. Clogged arteries and veins are a result of inactivity. Excess fat, also caused by inactivity, leads to higher incidence of heart disease. The CDC reports that heart disease is the #1 cause of death for both men and women in the United States. Every year, close to 800,000 Americans have a first heart attack who have already experienced a heart attack and have a repeat event. In fact, less than 20% of adults meet the physical activity guidelines for both aerobic and muscle strengthening activity, the CDC states. Overall, statistically, you will die at an earlier age if you don't exercise. Try to engage in a combination of vigorous and moderate aerobic exercises such as running, walking, or swimming. Squeeze in strength or training at least twice per week, lifting free weights, using machines, or doing upper body weight. Space out your activities throughout the week. If you want to lose weight or meet specific fitness goals, you may want to ramp up your exercise efforts. It gives you a chance to unwind, enjoy the outdoors, and simply engage in activities that make you happy. This is why I'm preaching to a bunch of 20-year-olds. College students are not as healthy as we often believe. According to recent surveys, high school seniors are in better health than we are. We are on the threshold of decline as our activity level drops. This change is correlated with the changes in our lifestyle that occur between high school and college. Most of us have less time to run around because we're all studying more. Many of us giving up the sports we play continuously. Now that we're in college, we have less time to exercise. The point here is that exercise from us comes within, but statistically that hasn't been happening. This point increasingly significant as we realize this stage in our life is a primary force in determining our future behavior. Our inactivity now may lead to inactivity later. Our choices in brand of beer will be carried on throughout the remaining years. By being inactive now, we are getting ourselves in a habit of being inactive. This habit can be avoided, but it is difficult. I have shown you not by exercising we are decreasing our lifespans. A fair question to ask here is, what is so great about exercise? If it's such a pain in the ass, it's not worth living for a few more years. To this, I would respond that it isn't such a pain. Exercise can help prevent excess weight or maintain weight loss. When you engage in physical activity, you burn calories. The more intense the activity, the more calories you burn. Regular trips to the gym are great, but don't worry if you can't find a large chunk of time to exercise every day. Just get more active throughout your day. Take the stairs instead of the elevator, or rev up your household chores. Consistency is always key. Need an emotional lift or need to blow off some steam after a stressful day? A gym session or a 30-minute walk can help. Physical activity stimulates various brain chemicals that may leave you feeling happier and more relaxed. Struggling to snooze? Regular physical activity can help you fall asleep faster and deepen your sleep. Just don't exercise too close to your bedtime, or you may be too energized to hit the hay. Exercise is not a large investment, but the yield is very high. We should all exercise to take advantage of this. Do you feel too tired or out of shape to enjoy your physical intimacy? Regular physical activity can improve levels and physical appearance, which may boost your sex life. But there's even more to it than that. Regular physical activity may enhance arousal for women, and men who exercise regularly are less likely to have problems with erectile dysfunction than men that don't exercise. And when we're hurrying to class, you won't get so winded easily. Winded by grocery shopping or household holds, regular activity can improve your muscle strength and boost your endurance. Exercise delivers oxygen and nutrients to your tissues and helps your cardiovascular system work more efficiently. And when you're one advantage of being healthy is that your body needs less sleep. This may make up for the time it takes to exercise. Studies show exercise clears your thoughts so you can be more efficient in your everyday activities. You will not only feel better about your health, but as a person overall. It can even boost your confidence and self-esteem. You won't get sick as easily since the exercise increases the body's resistance. More important, however, are the effects on your body that you don't feel. Increasing your cardiovascular strength increases your heart strokes efficiency. Researchers at San Diego State University have found that increases in exercise slow the onset of senility. If none of these facts impress you, keep in mind that exercise might make us look better, and this might make girls take a little more notice on this. A personal story was in high school. I worked out with the best high school linebacker possible, and I was 180 pounds. He was about 250 pounds. I was benching 185, he was benching 375. I decided to work out with him every day consistently, and within 6 to 9 months, I gained 30 pounds and put on about 100 pounds on my bench max with no steroids. That was just because of the consistency of going every day and eating more. So I advise you all to go out and get some more exercise. Just because none of us want to be called fat slobs by our mothers, none of us want to die either earlier than we should. So we should all get in the habit of exercising regularly now. Exercise and physical activity can be enjoyable, and it can also help you connect with your family or friends, just like in my instance. I also recently took my dad to the gym for the first time and realized that he wasn't as weak as I always called him to be. So find a physical activity you enjoy and just do it. Remember to check with your doctor before starting a new exercise program, especially if you haven't exercised for a long time, because you could have problems such as heart disease, diabetes, or arthritis, and to talk to them about any concerns. So go out, try something new, do something with your friends. I leave you guys with this quote by Cedric Bryan, which is a chief exercise psychologist for the American Council on Exercise. Exercise produces a relaxing response that serves as a positive distraction. Thank you.
right, Tatiana, what did you think?
That was good. I just would rely less on your note cards because it was very much you were reading your note cards, and I would work on your vocal. What's that called? Like
Variety, projection, pacing.
Variety, vocal variety.
Okay.
And your eye contact was good when you weren't looking at the cards, like you knew exactly where in the room you wanted to look. You also had a lot of sources, which was good, and there was good connections and ways that you related your speech to the audience, which was nice. And also, I thought what was really cool is that your physique obviously shows that you know what you're talking about too, which was, you can tell that what you're talking about is something that's important to you, so I thought that was nice. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I think most of that is, see, people sometimes think that the evaluation is just about you. It's often about the evaluator. You did a good job on the evaluation, so you're picking out the kinds of things that you're supposed to be looking for. I thought that it could be a little bit more organized at the beginning. Like if there was a preview, I think it's pretty well organized. It's not like it's disorganized, but you want to help the audience a little bit, give them some structure so they can see a little bit more where you're headed. The preview could be stronger, and then the signposting could be stronger in the speech. But the content is very good. I liked, especially in the first third of the speech, there's a lot of citation of material. In the last 20% of the speech, there's a little bit more citation, but there is a whole section kind of in the second half toward the end where you've got a lot of claims that you're making that you're not providing any proof for. It seems like it's mostly asserted. As an example, you've got all the sexual benefits that come from exercise, and I know that didn't just, this is not your personal experience that you're talking about. This is something that you read about, so you want to attribute the sources when you can. And I don't think that would be problematic for you. I know that you've got the information, just remember to do it. So it seemed like there was just that one section for maybe 30-40% of the speech after the first half where things didn't quite get the same sort of attention to detail that you got earlier in the speech. The personal examples I think are good that you have toward the end. I think you could use a few more examples earlier in the speeches to get us more emotionally involved. And maybe, I like the idea that, you went to the gym with your father and you discovered that he wasn't quite as weak as you always accused him of being, that sort of thing. I like that. That's a good story. You need a few more things like that in the speech to personalize it and to get us emotionally involved in what you're talking about as well. The presentation issues, I think Tatiana picked out the things that I think are a little bit problematic. The eye contact, I think you know that. You're doing a lot of reading. And I think your vocal variety, I thought it was pretty good. It would be better if you knew the material. Sometimes you get not stuck on a word, but metabolistic or metabolism, whatever the word was, had a little trouble on that. And there were a few other places where you ran into the same sort of thing. And that's practice, 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 and then be used to it. And then the more you do that, the less you have to do the reading kind of thing, because the reading takes you out of it. Whenever you look up and whenever you're talking to us and doing that, you're fine. And you would just be so much more credible if you didn't have to do the reading all the time. Your gestures are limited because you have the notes in your hand, so you feel less engaged than you might be. Although I thought that you were more engaged and more active in speaking to us and connecting more with us than you have been in some of your other presentations. So you are making progress on doing those kinds of things. I know we've talked about that a little bit. What can I work on? What can I do better at? And I think you're doing better at those kinds of things. So keep up that kind of work. I know a lot of you're going to get out of here and say, well, that's the last time I ever have to do that. I guess again, you'll probably discover that you'll have to do it at some point or other, and probably not in the too distant future. In one of your other classes, maybe you'll be giving the award or receiving the award for your team for something, and you have to get up and speak a little bit, and you want to be able to do those kinds of things. So I know people sometimes think, well, this is it's like the exercise bar. I get over that and I'm done. No, you got to keep doing it. You got to keep doing it. So you're making progress. You're doing the right kinds of things. And I think I'd agree with most of what Tatiana said there. Okay, thank you.